What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Friday, November 19th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 9-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Malcolm Brogdon from the Indiana Pacers playing the Charlotte Hornets, who have the second worst defense overall. They give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Malcolm Brogdon has averaged 43.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 28% usage rate. He's projected at 43.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 8,300 DraftKings salary, 300 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 215 points scored in this game, and Malcolm Brogdon has scored 31, 43, and 43 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 35, 37, and 37 minutes. So I like Malcolm Brogdon here versus the Charlotte Hornets. And another point guard that I like is Lonzo Ball from the Chicago Bulls playing the Denver Nuggets, who have a good defense overall. They give up the 7th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Lonzo Ball has averaged 32.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He's projected at 33.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 6,700 DraftKings salary and 100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 211.5 points scored in this game, and Lonzo Ball has scored 37, 53, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 37, and 33 minutes. So I like Lonzo Ball here versus the Denver Nuggets. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, now let's take a look at the shooting guard position. So here's an interesting play here. I like Talen Horton-Tucker from the LA Lakers playing the Boston Celtics, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing shooting guards. Talen Horton-Tucker has averaged 40.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 40.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 7 times value. He's 5,800 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. Talen Horton-Tucker has scored 52, 42, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 37, and 27 minutes. So monster minutes the past couple of games, monster production. His salary is still low, so I like Talen Horton-Tucker here versus the Boston Celtics. Okay, another shooting guard that I like. Here's a value play. I like Luguentz Dort from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have the 12th worst defense overall. They give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, and Luguentz Dort has averaged 27.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 32 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 27.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's 5,000 DraftKings salary, 1,200 more on FanDuel, so I love that DraftKings price. And Luguentz Dort has scored 51, 32, and 27 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 36, 31, and 27 minutes. So I like Luguentz Dort here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Josh Hart from the New Orleans Pelicans playing the LA Clippers, who have a good defense overall. They've been middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Josh Hart has averaged 26.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's projected at 27.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 5,400 DraftKings salary, 200 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 215 points scored in this game, and Josh Hart has scored 37, 38, and 28 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 37, and 32 minutes. So I like Josh Hart here versus the LA Clippers. Okay, another small forward that I like is Josh Richardson. This looks like a pretty interesting value play from the Boston Celtics playing the LA Lakers, who have the 4th worst defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Josh Richardson has averaged 17 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 18.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's only 3,400 DraftKings salary. He's 1,500 more on FanDuel, so I love that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 213 points scored in this game, and Josh Richardson has scored 19 and 21 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 27 and 25 minutes. So I like Josh Richardson here versus the LA Lakers. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Kristaps Porzingis from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Phoenix Suns, who have a good defense overall. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Kristaps Porzingis has averaged 37.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He's projected at 39.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 7,800 DraftKings salary, 1,200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 211.5 points scored in this game, and Kristaps Porzingis has scored 48, 56, and 48 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 31, 33, and 34 minutes. So I like Kristaps Porzingis here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, another power forward that I like is Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing power forwards. Franz Wagner has averaged 25.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He's projected at 26 fantasy points here tonight. That's 6.1 times value. He's 4,300 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 209.5 points scored in this game, and Franz Wagner has scored 28, 33, and 17 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 35, and 34 minutes. So I like Franz Wagner here versus the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Domantas Sabonis from the Indiana Pacers playing the Charlotte Hornets, who have the second worst defense overall. They give up the second most fantasy points to opposing centers. Domantas Sabonis has averaged 41.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 40.3 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 45 fantasy points or more in this one, get you 5 times value or more. He's 8,900 DraftKings salary, 200 less on FanDuel, and Domantas Sabonis has scored 31, 49, and 43 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 40, and 30 minutes. So I like Domantas Sabonis here versus the Charlotte Hornets. Another center I like is DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the second most fantasy points to opposing centers, and DeAndre Ayton has averaged 35.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. He's projected at 38 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.7 times value. He's 6,700 DraftKings salary, 1,100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 211.5 points scored in this game, and DeAndre Ayton has scored 41 and 39 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 35 and 32 minutes. So I like DeAndre Ayton, especially on DraftKings, here versus the Dallas Mavericks. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.